We have a gun.
Hello?
We're on.
We're on.
Let's
Cool.
go.
All right. Getting started on time today. I'm solo today, guys. John Pierre's having car trouble. Thank you so much for all your wonderful feedback of liking him with me. We are a good team. Hopefully he'll be back next week. Let us know that you can see and hear, and we'll get started with episode 49.
49. She's here. Teresa's online.
Can
Not
she
well. Yep.
Teresa's not well. I'm so sorry.
Not well. That's her last name.
I know. I was just kidding.
She's well.
I'm just kidding. So we're ready to go, Kenny?
We're ready.
All right. Well, hey, everybody, and welcome to episode 49 of Weight Loss Wednesday. I'm Chef AJ, the creator of the Ultimate Weight Loss Program, and this is where I answer your questions about healthy, permanent, and sustainable weight loss. The best way to submit a question is through my website, www.eatunprocessed.com. And when you're there, why not sign up to be on my mailing list so you can find out where I'm going to be. And why don't I tell you where I'm going to be? Because this Saturday, which is October 28th, I will be speaking at the OC Veg Fest.
That's not the Housewives of OC?
Nah. Nope.
Okay.
I'll be speaking at 4:30, I believe, is the time, and I will be doing a culinary demo at 3. And Dr. Furman's speaking at 1:30, so I'm sure you'll want to see him. I won't be there on Sunday, so if you'd like to see me, come Saturday. After that, my class this week is sold out. Thank you, Mike, at the cooking school, so can't see you there. So my next opportunity to connect would be at the Remedy Conference in Hilton Head on November 9th through 12th. There's still some seats left if you'd like to come to that. And then I have my in-person class in my home, which I do every other month on December 3rd, and that's filling up very quickly. So why am I holding this, Kenny? Does anybody know what this is? Should we give a prize? Okay, so this
Leslie's here from Boston. That's all I
nice.
know.
She was on earlier, thank you. So this is the Veggie Dome, and I have not used it yet, but it's supposedly awesome. And what it does is it keeps your vegetables fresh so that you can keep them outside of the refrigerator. But more than that, especially if you have children or people that don't eat vegetables, by keeping them out, they're more likely to eat them. And supposedly they keep them fresh for days. I'll let you know because I literally just got this, and next week I'll let you know how it works. But the reason I'm holding it is because next Wednesday is the 50th episode of Weight Loss Wednesday.
Woo!
That means
Yeah.
we've been on the air almost a year, and thank you so much. I had no idea this was going to be a regular show. As I've mentioned several times, because I'm not very tech savvy, I thought I was broadcasting to my private group, and it went out to everyone, and since people seem to watch it and like it, I've continued. So in honor of the 50th episode, we're doing a huge giveaway. And this is one of the prizes, the Veggie Dome. I believe the retail value is $57. In addition, we're going to have some amazing prizes. Benson's Table Tasty is donating. Be Mon Pa's Vinegar is donating. Kathy Fisher is donating. Janine Elder of Potato Wisdom, who designs the most amazing, comfortable plant-based t-shirts, is donating. These are prizes everyone could win.
I want one.
Well, you have to be watching live.
Okay.
Who else? Let me look at my list. Who else is giving prizes? Oh, we have date syrup from I Love Date Lady. We have 2 gift certificates for the original pizza cookery, so those will have to go to somebody that's local. And we're getting more prizes as we speak. By the way, you have to live in the United States because none of our vendors want to ship internationally. I'm so sorry, but this is open to U.S. residents only, but I hope you'll still watch. And we have 2 grand prizes. Somebody is going to walk away. Well, you're not going to maybe walk away, but you're going to get an Instant Pot electric pressure cooker. And maybe the best prize of all is one lucky viewer is going to win a free 1-hour session with none other than Dr. Doug Lyall.
I thought you said I was going to get to meet with them.
Oh, and by the way, speaking of free sessions, PCRM Food for Life instructor and health coach Sharon McRae is donating a 30-minute session, so for those of you with kids. So how do you win this stuff? Well, first of all, you have to watch. So tell all your friends, in case they haven't watched, to watch next week. So we're going to do trivia the whole time. We'll answer some questions too. We'll make it lots of fun. But pretty much all the questions are going to be based on my book, Unprocessed. So if you haven't read it, you might want to read it before Wednesday so you'll know the answers. And if it's been a while since you read it, then read it again or get the Kindle. But all the questions are going to be based on this book. And we're going to have both Eden and Kenny here, hopefully. And somebody will be there. It's going to be not first come, first serve, but whoever responded first with the correct answer, and we'll know because, as you know, Facebook lists things sequentially. So make sure you're watching. All right. So now I just want to thank a few people for some gifts they sent me. I had no idea that people would be sending me stuff, and
I never get anything.
Well, yeah, it's true.
Wow, you got money.
Well, I did get money, actually. So I want to, and this person asked to be anonymous, but I want to thank the angel that gifted me with the Breville Smart Oven. Changed my life. Use it every day. If you are on the fence about an air fryer and you haven't gotten one yet, I recommend the Breville. So thank you, Angel, for that gift. Thank you.
She's just an angel. Her name's anonymous.
Thank you, Mandy, for this sign. I appreciate it.
Someone's amazing.
That's me. Purple, my favorite color.
Yes.
Thank you, Nancy, for
stickers.
These fruits and vegetable stickers. Now, these are going to be really important because on Halloween, which is Tuesday, we are starting the 63-day of abstinence challenge. So if you're not in UWL and you've been on the fence, this might be the time to join if the holiday season is difficult for you. You know, more people relapse on Halloween than probably any other day of the year, or at least it's the beginning of a continuous 63-day binge or relapse till January 2nd. And by then they've gained so much weight and feel so much shame and guilt, and it's just horrible. So we do 63 days of abstinence of the SOFAs, sugar, oil, flour, alcohol, salt, but specifically the sugar seems to be the biggest problem. You know, that little fun size Snickers that seems so innocent, I've seen people go to the dark side from that and end up on dialysis, and I'm not making that up. So the stickers are important because some of us do stickers for every day of abstinence, and if you are going to do that, I recommend getting stickers that resonate with you. For me, it's fruits and vegetables or Scooby-Doo. So this is from Kirby, and people are sending me money. I love it. Thank you so much. It says, Thanks for making so much of your program content available for free. I appreciate it. And thank you for saying that. And you know, all my content is free. What's not free is my time. In other words, you have my program. You'll have 49 episodes, and there's hundreds of YouTubes and cooking demos and my TV show. So there's no secret to what the program is. It's all written on this little plastic bracelet that says "Eat to the left of the red line," which I think costs about $1, which fortunately we can't ship outside of the United States and Canada. But when you buy the program, you're paying for the content and for the fact that me and Jean-Pierre, that is our job. We stay online pretty much all day except when we sleep, supporting you and answering your questions. So thank you so much for acknowledging that. And I got a very special present in the mail. I want to show this, but the cards, honestly, I love the gifts and I love the money, don't get me wrong, but wow. It's what you guys write that really touches my heart. Dear Chef AJ, I love this. This I'm going to frame. I used to think you were just impossible. I now know you are right on everything you say. Thank you. Thank you for all you do. It's so appreciated. You are an amazing human being. Love you. This blanket is made so skinny bitches don't get cold this winter. Love and hugs, Jenny. So this
all right, Jenny.
This means a lot to me.
See, Jenny's sending it right online with us now.
Look at this.
That's
these
beautiful.
Are some of my favorite colors.
She made that?
Yeah,
that's really cool.
I think this is crocheting and not knitting, but look
Yeah,
at this.
it's like a crochet.
And I love this because even though it's been 100 every day this week where I live, it's still chilly in the morning, and I use a blanket for meditation. So this is so beautiful. This is so meaningful, and thank you so much. But the card is really what I love. So, all right.
Jenny says, love you.
Thank you.
I'm worried about these 63 days. I tried for the last 2 weeks now with no extra sugar.
Well, you keep
and now
eating
63 more days?
You know?
Come on.
You gotta stop eating at restaurants.
I know.
So here we go. So we have all the questions today, by the way, came from the participants of the live Ultimate Weight Loss Program, which you can't take unless you live in Los Angeles or are willing to travel for 4 consecutive weeks. We only run it 1 or 2 times a year now that we run the program online. Same content, it's just that we get to give you the food and do yoga and have in-person speakers. So we will start with a question from Shada. If you don't know who Shada is, please go to my YouTube channel and watch Shada's story. Shada was she was my first private client. She was also a client of Jean-Pierre. She's lost well over 100 pounds now in the Ultimate Weight Loss Program and kept it off for over 5 years. And she is a mentor now to so many people in the Mastery Program. And her question is, what are your thoughts on brown rice paper, compliant or non-compliant? So people get messed up by the terminology we sometimes use in the program, like compliance and abstinence and adherence. And so I don't want people to get, messed up by the words. So There's a difference between abstinence and compliance. I know I talked about this in one of the previous episodes, but abstinence means elimination of. So and if you're an alcoholic, it's recommended you abstain from alcohol. We abstain from SOFAs, SOFAS. That's my acronym: sugar, oil, flour, alcohol, salt.
It doesn't help us staying off the couch as well.
Exactly, because also it's a good metaphor because for exercise. Dr. Goldhammer's program is SOS free. My program is his program. I based my program on everything I learned at True North and everything I learned from Dr. McDougall from his Maximum Weight Loss book, and of course everything I learned from Dr. Doug Lyall. And so it was already abstinent from SOS, sugar, oil, salt. And even when I was heavy, 50 pounds ago, when I wrote my book, Unprocessed, I forget where that was, I was still SOS free. I wasn't eating sugar, oil, or salt. But then I learned about food addiction, and I learned from the book Sugars and Flours, How They Make Us Crazy, Sick, and Fat, written by Dr. Joe Niflin, that many people, especially people that are food addicts, refined food addicts, processed food addicts, have the same trouble with flour and artificial sweeteners like the aspartames and the zero-calorie sweeteners like the stevia, erythritol, xylitol, mannitol, sorbitol, as people that are sugar addicts have with sugar. So compliance is just a word that means following a prescribed course of action. So if your doctor says take 2 tablets once a day and you do it, you're compliant. If you don't do it, you're not compliant. Dr. Carrie Saunders, who spoke in Vegas, says she doesn't like that word. She likes adherence. But the idea is you can, when we use the word compliance in the Ultimate Weight Loss Program, for most of us that just means eating to the left of the red line, which is the fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and legumes. Nothing wrong with eating the high-fat plant foods, the nuts and seeds and avocados, if your caloric budget and activity level can allow them and they're not trigger foods for you. But so people often get tripped up by compliant, not compliant, adherence, abstinence. So for me, for people that are suffering from food addiction, the abstinence is way more important than compliance, because there's things we recommend in the program, like daily movement, like meditation. And so if you don't do that, well, are you not compliant then? If you don't sequence your meals, are you not compliant? Well, it depends. So brown rice paper is technically too close to a flour product for most people that I know that are suffering from food addiction. A lot of times people think, well, if a snack has no fat and if it's low in calories, it's okay. And it may be okay for some. And it may be okay for you. It really depends. See, if that is a food that now you made these delicious egg rolls. There's no eggs in them, but Shada did a Facebook Live where she showed in the Breville how she made these really crispy egg rolls using her Breville oven and water sauteing vegetables, and she used brown rice paper. I believe it did have some salt in it, and they look beautiful. And would AJ eat them? Sure. If you made them, I'd eat them. Would I buy brown rice paper and make these? Probably not. Too labor intensive. So the thing is if it's triggering for you, and now that you've had one, you want to eat it every single day and every single meal, it may be a problem. But you're somebody that's kept your weight off for over 5 years now, and if you're happy with your weight and your brain chemistry, meaning the main reason we eat this way in the Ultimate Weight Loss Program has nothing to do with weight, although the weight is a great side effect, the weight loss. It's a program designed to stabilize our brain chemistry, to calm our brain down, because when we drink things like Diet Coke and alcohol and coffee and sugar and flour, these mess up our brain chemistry. We get very anxious often. We don't sleep well, and the stable brain is the best part of the program. People will tell you that when they eat this way, it's the first time in their life they feel calm. They don't have cravings, and then the weight was just a result of the food addiction. Once they deal with it and get the food right, the weight falls off. Thing is, it falls off slowly, which is why some people give up and don't like the program, because if they do, and I say a more extreme program, people think this program is extreme, but like a weighing and measuring program, to me that's the most extreme, or something like gastric bypass, well, it falls off quicker, but it doesn't fall off quickly in the Ultimate Weight Loss Program. Most people lose about 1 pound or 2 a week, and that's not enough for some people. It took me almost 2.5 years to lose these 50 pounds. So my thoughts on the brown rice paper is that it's what you do most of the time that matters, not what you do some of the time. And if you're doing this for company as a treat, I don't have a problem with it unless it's a problem for you. But technically, if somebody was really vulnerable to food addiction, because we vary. I mean, there are people that if you put 2 tablespoons of arrowroot powder or cornstarch, which is basically a flour-like product, in a gravy, it will trigger them. And there's people like, no big deal. So this is where people have to know just themselves and if they can do it. So like I said, I would eat it at your house. I mean, for me, the bigger problem is more the salt. I really don't like eating things with even a little salt at this point because I've been salt-free for so long now that I find salt extremely triggering for me, in that it's not that it makes me go out and binge, but it's an appetite stimulant. And then whenever it's in something, I just overeat and I eat more food. I don't like that feeling. So I think it's fine for some people and not fine for other people. The idea is you have to know who you are. And also, one of the things I teach is good, better, best. And most of the people that come to the program have lots of emotional issues. Some are dealing with it, some are not. And if somebody's going to binge or relapse and they want to go to their favorite Chinese restaurant and have egg roll, well, this is way better to do that. So that was a long answer, Shada, but I hope that makes sense, because there are gray areas in certain things.
She says she uses it just for a treat.
Yeah, and I think that's absolutely fine. You know, certain things I would not recommend as a treat, like sugar, you know, like flour, like oil, like animal products, you know, like cheese, things like that. So I think for you it's fine. For other people it could be problematic. Again, you know, here's the thing. Ask yourself this. Is it a whole food found in nature from a plant? If the answer is yes, with the fiber and water intact, eat it. If the answer is no, then we'll talk. You know, it's a processed food. I also use the test, could I make it in my own kitchen? You know, the truth is even though I'm allergic to soy, but even though I don't drink soy milk or eat tofu or edamame, well, edamame is the whole food form, but even though I don't eat tofu or tempeh or drink soy milk, I could make these in my own kitchen. I technically could make pasta in my own kitchen, but again, you know, the more you process a food, the worse it is for weight loss. The least you process it, the better it is. And when you process it, that's when you activate the food addiction. It's not ever from whole food. So, all right. Anybody have anything to say before I move on?
We just got people from Boise, from Houston, from all over.
Wow.
They put the right website to join the group.
Thanks. Hey guys, please share these if you can, because when you share it, it helps me out.
Valerie's sharing it. So.
I actually got to do a really cool interview on a show just because somebody saw this show. So, you know, share it if you can. That would be really nice.
Everyone's excited about 63 days to start on Halloween.
On Halloween. So Orlando said, should we eat oatmeal, steel-cut oats, or avoid oats altogether? Is it okay to have after you've had a big salad? So a lot of people don't like me because because they just don't like me. No, because I'm always bashing rolled oats. And that's because for people that suffer from food addiction, especially sugar addiction, the rolled oats with fruit that they're having every morning that they can't not have becomes their cake. And the reason is I am for whole food in its whole form. So I am for the oat groat. So if you can eat oat groats, I think that's fantastic. But everybody I know, Kenny says he can. I know Sharon McRae can. I only have met one person so far that can eat rolled oats, which is the third most processed form of the oat, with water and not sweeten it or put fat in it like nuts or seeds or things like that. So rolled oats is the third incarnation of oats. You have the oat groat, which you can get at Whole Foods and other natural food stores, which is quite much like rice, which takes about an hour to cook unless you do an Instant Pot. You cook it in the Instant Pot. And it has a very toothsome quality. It's actually quite delicious. As it can be savory, you can put berries in it. That's what I want people to eat when they eat oats. But most people, unfortunately, when they're eating oats, are eating the third incarnation, which is the rolled oat, or the instant oat, which I don't even recommend eating instant oat. It's too much. You may as well eat flour. Some people split the difference and eat the steel-cut oat, which is better than the rolled oat, but not as good as the oat groat. Now, if you read Dr. McDougall's book, or the program for Maximum Weight Loss, he talks about when you have a whole grain, like oat or rice, and you cut it with a sharp blade, now you have what's known as a broken grain. And what happens is when you eat that broken grain, because you've increased the surface area, you increase the absorption in your intestines. And what that means is that your blood sugar goes up more quickly, which raises your insulin more quickly. Insulin is the hormone responsible for driving fat into the cells, which is the last thing we want to do if we're trying to lose weight. So, if you do it in the whole food form, it's better. You know, Dr. Esselstyn has often said that we didn't exit our mother's wombs clutching the sharp blades of our Vitamix. And so, I prefer people to eat whole grains and to eat them whole. The problem with the rolled oats, the third incarnation, is it really is more like flour than it is like a whole grain. And that's why people that are overweight and suffer from food addictions like it so much, because it is so much like eating flour. It's so much higher in the glycemic index than either the steel-cut oat or the oat groat. And you know what's interesting is, as somebody who worked as an executive vegan pastry chef at a restaurant for 5 years, I'm going to tell you that rolled oats are so close to flour that you don't even have to grind them. You know, when I was making recipes a long time ago, that would be my choice, was to take oats, rolled oats, and just grind them in my Vitamix and use them for my recipes. And when I learned about how sugar and flour go through the exact same refining process as drugs and alcohol, and why those that are sensitive to this condition shouldn't have any kind of ground flours or powders of any kind, whether it's sugar or flour or salt or rat poison or cocaine, I stopped grinding the grains in my recipe. One exception where I use a half a cup of millet in my blueberry millet muffins, but you don't have to put it in. And I noticed when I was making all my recipes, even ones that weren't suitable for the Ultimate Weight Loss Program, like the outrageous brownies, which are made of black beans, that there was no difference in the recipe. So in other words, they were so almost finely ground in their rolled oat state that you couldn't tell the difference. Whereas millet, for example, which is in the blueberry millet muffin and the triple, I believe it's in the triple apple squares, if you don't grind it and you leave it there, it stays crunchy like birdseed. So you don't have to use the millet, but if you don't want to use it, you have to either cook it or substitute oats. But if you do use the millet in one of my recipes, you're getting about 2 tablespoons of the ground millet flour. So my whole thing is that I don't mind if people eat oats, but it's when people can't not do something that I wonder about, especially since the program is based on addiction. You know, somebody actually asked my mentor, Dr. Alan Goldhammer, at the last conference in Vegas, the Live Ultimate Weight Loss Conference, if oatmeal was a good breakfast. And he said, only if you're trying to gain weight or maintain weight. So there are a lot of people like the McDougalls who are not food addicts and who are slender and have always been slender, that eat oatmeal and fruit every day for breakfast, and that is a perfectly good breakfast for them. But if you're trying to lose weight, it's not a good breakfast, and I don't even think it's a good second breakfast. I think if you're trying to lose weight, you should eat the breakfast that they eat at True North, which is what we recommend in the Ultimate Weight Loss Program, which is a huge salad. They have a 24-hour salad bar there, and then you move over to the hot food bar. And yes, they do serve oatmeal with fruit at True North. But not everybody there is a food addict or trying to lose weight. People come there for myriad other conditions. But what they also serve at True North for breakfast is steamed vegetables and steamed winter squashes. You know, winter squashes have a lower caloric density even than potatoes and sweet potatoes, which were about 375 calories per pound. So if somebody is trying to lose weight, whole grains are about 500 calories per pound. They absorb water, so that really is good when you cook things in water. You lower the caloric density and you increase satiety. But I personally don't think oats are the go-to best breakfast or best food for people that are struggling with this disease. I think you should eat the winter squashes. Right now, they're prevalent. The kabocha, delicata, butternut, acorn, Hubbard. You know, it's so many kinds right now. That would be, I think, a better breakfast, especially if you're trying to lose weight. So can you never have oats? Not at all. Just like you can have the brown rice paper too, but I don't think it's great for weight loss. The caveat I would say is if you were making savory oats. You see, the other problem is most of the people in the Ultimate Weight Loss Program suffer mostly from sugar addiction, even more so than flour. And so what happens is the sooner you activate that sweet taste in the morning, even with something healthy like fruit, that's why I don't recommend fruit juices or smoothies or just even eating whole fruit for breakfast, the more you are going to crave sweet throughout the day. So if somebody is insistent on eating oats, I would say eat them as the groat and eat them savory with kale and shiitake mushrooms and onion and garlic. I have a few recipes like that. This is what I've seen in my clients, the ones that are finally willing to stop eating oats and eat a different starch after their vegetables. They seem to do much better. They seem to have less cravings because those rolled oats are very close to flour and the fruit is very close to sugar, and sugar and flour is cake. And usually people are throwing on handfuls of walnuts and flax seeds, so now you got sugar, fat, and flour. So yes, way better than eating a Cinnabon, but not the most ideal breakfast for ultimate weight loss or food cravings or food addiction. So if you're going to have it, definitely have it after your vegetables.
Well, those oats could be like rice with your veggies.
Absolutely.
The oats are
absolutely.
almost like rice.
Absolutely.
It's really good that way.
Yeah. So this is sort of a similar question from Sandy because it plays off of what you said, Orlando. She says, is there a cold cereal we're allowed to have with almond milk? Is zucchini considered a veggie, and can I eat it as part of my 2 pounds? So I don't know if when you say cold cereal, I'm assuming you mean like a box cereal.
Lucky
Yeah, the magically delicious. Yeah, that's so funny. When I was a kid, I would eat the marshmallows and not eat I never would eat the letters. You know, I'd only eat the marshmallow part. So. I am not aware of any box cereal that would be consistent with the principles taught in the Ultimate Weight Loss Program. Eat the box. I mean, that's where all the fiber is. You know, the box cereals are like 1,800 calories a pound. They're more than triple the caloric density of whole grains. And generally they have salt added and sugar and, you know, about something like 67% of Americans eat box cereal for breakfast. So I don't recommend that at all. You could eat rolled oats raw, and technically they're not raw because they've been steamed, so they are the third incarnation. You really couldn't eat steel cut oats with almond milk or oat groats with almond milk. They'd be too crunchy, but you can eat raw oats raw. In episode, I think it was 102 or 103 of Healthy Living with Chef AJ on Foodie TV, Dr. Esselstyn makes Dr. Campbell his favorite breakfast, which is raw oats with almond milk and a banana and I think blueberries, and Aunt Esselstyn likes to put grapes in. Remember, these are thin people, these are not food addicts, and it's very toothsome and it's very delicious. But if you're trying to lose weight, that's not a great way to eat your grains, because cooking them in water will increase the volume, increase the bulk, and lower the caloric density. So I don't know of any cold, when you say allowed, I mean, Sandy, it's not a court-ordered program, so you're allowed anything you want. But it's not recommended if you're somebody trying to lose weight and you personally are so close to your ideal weight that you have to tighten the screws more than people that have a lot of weight to lose. Now, I have given you lots of recipes for cold cereal ideas with the things I made, like the Applejack crackers or the game-changing granola or the pumpkin pie bites. These are all dehydrated, by the way. I don't know how to make them in the oven, but you break these up. You can have them with almond milk. It'd be like eating a delicious granola. But again, they're calorically dense because they're dehydrated, all the water's been removed. These are things that I personally only eat when I travel and have trouble getting enough starch. So you're allowed anything you want, but it is not recommended unless there's some cereal out there that I'm not aware of, let me know. But cereals are very calorically dense, and you know, I joke, but I say whatever the question, the answer is generally kale, or always is a vegetable. And that's what you guys need to do more of. You know, I keep telling you that all the studies show that the food most correlated with weight loss is vegetables. The more vegetables a person eats, the lower their body weight and BMI. And I know a lot of you guys are struggling to even eat 1 pound of the 2 pounds I recommend. I'm way over 4 at this point, and it's that's what we got to learn to do. Anything, Kenny?
So we have 2 questions just to verify. I know the answer to this, but your new book that's coming out is going to be Audible.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome too. No, it is. They just emailed me the first 2/3 because now we have to go through the listening process to make sure everything is synced up. So yes, you'll be able to get it on Audible.com. I don't set prices on Amazon or Audible. Most audiobooks seem to run between $15 and $25. But if you are signed up for my mailing list at EatUnprocessed.com, we are going to have a bonus giveaway that if everybody buys my new book on that same day, you will get the Audible download as a bonus. So yes, that'll be pretty awesome. So absolutely.
Okay, I'll buy one.
Okay, so Sandy wants to know, is zucchini considered a veggie? Can she eat it as part of her 2 pounds? Well, botanically, it's technically considered a fruit because it has a seed. So zucchini, bell pepper, okra, tomato, cucumbers, and eggplants. We think of them as non-starchy vegetables because most people eat them savory in salads or vegetable dishes. Botanically, they're fruits, but they're really cool because they're so brightly colored. That's another tip-off, is when they're brightly colored, it's very often a fruit. But also, what's really cool about them is they're actually even lower in caloric density than a lot of the other vegetables, which average about 100, 125 calories per pound. They're like 67 to 72 calories per pound. And so for the same amount of calories in the 2 pounds of zucchini that I eat every morning, you can barely have 1 tablespoon of olive oil or any kind of oil. And that's what's so beautiful about following the principles of caloric density and applying them to your life and your eating style. Because when you really understand what we're teaching in the Ultimate Weight Loss Program, you can eat twice as much food, take in half as many calories, feel full and satiated. And the great news is whoever designed this, the foods that are lowest in calorie density are highest in nutrient density. So you don't have to worry about taking pills, potions, and supplements. You just have to eat the food to the left of the right line.
That person from the higher source is the one who designed
Yeah,
Oats.
so I don't like to get political or spiritual because
Or religious.
Often can offend people. So yes, it's considered 2 pounds, but is that all you want to have, Sandy? Now, 2 pounds to me, people go, oh, it's so much food. I wish I could. I've showed it to you on other episodes. I believe it's episode 36, or maybe it's episode 24. 2 pounds of vegetables is, I don't know, it's like 4 cups of vegetables cooked. It's nothing. Now, if you're eating it raw, 2 pounds of raw kale could be a lot, but not when you cook it, not when you roast it or air fry it. It cooks down to nothing. And so the thing about the Ultimate Weight Loss Program is we are a VFB program, Vegetables for Breakfast, and the part of the program that most people resist is the part of the program that actually helps them the most, both in terms of taking the weight off forever, keeping it off, maintaining it, and fighting the food cravings. We've talked about this in so many episodes, how the compounds in vegetables, particularly the dark green leafy ones, fight cravings for sugar and things like that, but they're so full of nutrients that you just feel full on fewer calories. And so, to me, I ask people, especially starting out, to eat 2 pounds a day, 1 pound raw, 1 pound cooked. I'm eating 4 pounds at least, probably 2 pounds, at least 2 pounds cooked, at least 2 pounds raw, and that does it. 2 pounds cooked, 1 pound raw, and then another pound that are in my like soup stews, and then probably another pound in my big salad. So I figure if I can eat like 4 to 6 pounds of vegetables a day, most people should be able to eat 2. But most Americans eat less than 10% of their calories from vegetables, actually 92% from animal products and processed food. Some eat no vegetables, and the average is about 3%. So guys, instead of figuring out what kind of oats to eat or what kind of cereal to eat, start eating vegetables. Fall in love with vegetables. You do that, you will lose weight, you will be lean, and you will dial down all those cravings, and you will no longer be suffering from food addiction. So I cannot say enough good things about vegetables. Anything else, my friend? I got another
Someone was
vegetable.
asking about if you even use your Vitamix anymore.
So,
Sounds like you don't.
it actually broke, so I'm using my Blendtec, and they say it's out of warranty. So, luckily I have one that is for the TV show, but it's not for my own use. So, if I ever make sorbets, like I love to make that beet cherry one that I showed you on the webinar with Gustavo. It's a free webinar. I do use it for that. When I make my faux parmesan, my enlightened faux parmesan, I use it. But really, no, I don't. I really don't blend my food, so I don't use it that much. Nope, not at all. I do use my air fryer every day and my Instant Pot every day, and
Is
I still
blending the vegetables as good as cooking and air frying them?
Well, air frying is not. Well, I don't want to say not good. The best way to eat the vegetables for weight loss is raw, but not everybody can eat large volumes of raw vegetables, and especially if people have GI problems, it's a lot harder to eat raw vegetables for most people. The whole point of the air fryer is because people are so vegetable adverse, it takes even the most undesirable vegetable, which in my case was always mushrooms, never liked them, and magically delicious, makes them magically delicious. But again, you're pulling out the water, you're increasing caloric density slightly, but if the propensity to overeat a non-starchy vegetable without sugar, oil, salt is greater, who cares? I want you to eat vegetables by any greens necessary. So the best way to eat them would be,
I got a question, but Sheridan talks about sauces. Do you recommend any sauces on top of the vegetables to make them even more tasty?
It depends. So if you're starting out, you need to make them taste good, because most people will not stick with a plan if it doesn't taste good. So this Saturday, when we do our mastery program, which is a subset of the Ultimate Weight Loss Program, where every week we do twice a week we do live interactions, myself and John Pierre. We're actually going to be doing vegetables for breakfast as our module, and I'm going to be showing some of the sauces that I make. And so absolutely the answer is yes, especially starting out. So starting out, when I started eating vegetables for breakfast 5 years ago, I was gagging on the kale too. And at first I was putting a tahini dressing on before I realized that was going to completely thwart my weight loss goals, because tahini is 90% oil. It's so high in fat. And so that's when I got into all the wonderful flavored vinegars from Be Mon Paz. And I showed you on episode 24 a delicious way to cook kale with mushrooms and onion and finish it off with vinegar that tastes amazing. So you want to make it delicious at the beginning. And for people, they say they hate all vegetables, so I say eat the one you hate the least. Most people can eat a cherry tomato. Most people can eat a cucumber. Most people can eat a carrot. Jicama is pretty benign for most people. But if you're talking about the greens and things, most people won't eat them without sauces or some kind of flavoring. So if the vinegar doesn't do it for you, I say put some pineapple in, like Susie Gerlach taught me, in your steamed kale. It tastes delicious, or even mango. I love to make salsa. Salsa is good on everything. I make an SOS-free salsa in my little Tupperware machine I've showed you on one of the episodes. That is great on every episode. Even if you don't have an air fryer, you can still roast vegetables in the oven on a silpat. When you roast things like mini bell peppers, they taste like candy. So the oven roasted ratatouille is a delicious one. I show that on episode, I think it's 110 of Healthy Living. Absolutely delicious. Served it to regular people. What else? The balsamic Dijon glazed Brussels sprouts. So when somebody's starting out, as delicious as possible. But after a while, it just, at least for me, I got too many other things to do than worry about eating. So I kind of eat the same thing every day. It just works for me to simplify. And yes, usually zucchini, but believe me, when I have time and make the ones, it's a real treat. It's so delicious.
So someone asked the question, do you batch cook? As you just got to this
Yes.
point, as you're too busy to do this.
Yes, absolutely, I batch cook. There's a question about that. If you fail to plan to fail. And if you're not willing to batch cook, you got to pay somebody to do it. That is really so important. Like a Boy Scout, if you're eating differently than 99% of the world, you must always be prepared. And if you go to my webinar page, there's several free webinars, what I eat in a day, what I eat for a week. So absolutely, I am making the huge ass salad probably more than once a week because it only lasts about 6 days in my Tupperware bowl. So that's always ready. I am always batch cooking sweet potatoes and potatoes. They're always ready. I can eat them cold if I have to, and they're okay cold, but often then I'll air fry them or microwave them. But always, grains, always batch cook grains. Also have some in the freezer, like the organic rice from Trader Joe's or Whole Foods, or the aseptic cartons. Always have salt-free canned beans. So absolutely, yes, I'm a big believer in batch cooking. I make huge things of soup a couple times a week. Eat some, freeze some. So yes.
How about getting my wife to do that? It's one other thing on the list.
Can somebody please marry Kenny, please? I mean, come on. Guy's adorable. So Faith also has a veggie question. She says, is it better to chop veggies so you eat more quantities, or keep in larger pieces so you chew it and get full faster? So I'm not sure that you get full faster by keeping the pieces larger, because what's going to get you full faster is a greater quantity. So when I looked at this question, I was a little bit confused, because in my brain, to me, it would seem that if you chop them, you would be reducing the volume, and you'd be able to eat more quickly. Not that we should eat quickly, but you'd be able to get a greater volume in, so that you would get full faster. So we want you to chew your food, like Dr. Clapper says, to a cream, regardless if you're chopping your salad or not chopping your salad. I think you should eat a salad the way you enjoy a salad. And a lot of people don't want to go to the trouble of chopping a salad. You need a tool called an ulu or a mezzaloon in a special bowl. I do mine in plastic. You're not supposed to do that. But most people that have had a chopped salad, it's a game changer for them. So that's why I recommend you watch my video, The 8 Secrets to Superior Salad Satisfaction, because it's not only easier to eat, because things are all the same size. Instead of having a huge piece of romaine and a tiny piece of onion, everything is the same, and it makes it very easy to eat. But it's also been a little bit pre-chewed for you. So we still want you to chew, though. We don't want you to swallow your salad whole. And it's interesting, Faith, because one of the reasons that I think so many Americans are overweight and obese is we literally have lost the ability to chew our food. And by that I mean, if Americans are eating 92% of their calories from animal products and processed food, these are foods that don't even need to be chewed. I mean, think about a Cinnabon. You could practically swallow it whole like a snake. Chicken nuggets. There's no fiber whatsoever in any animal product or processed food, so we barely have to chew it. I mean, Pop-Tarts, all these things, you could add water to them and it just slides right down. And now we're telling people to eat large volumes of fruits and vegetables and foods that are full of fiber, and guess what? It's a lot of work. You're going to have to chew. But chewing actually increases satiety, as does seeing large volumes of food. And what I don't like about the weighing and measuring programs is, well, pretty much not anything. There's one thing I do like about it, but is the volume of food is so small. They're getting something like 17 ounces of food per meal. I'm getting like 4 pounds of food per meal. When you see large volumes of food, you expect to be more satisfied, but chewing actually increases satiety, because digestion starts in the mouth with a digestive enzyme called amylase. So I don't think you get full faster if you keep the pieces larger. But I don't know. That would be an interesting experiment. I don't care how you eat your salad, or your vegetable. Well, I do care no cheese or bacon or oil, but I mean, I don't care the size of it. But I do think if you chop it, and you can also chop it in a food processor very carefully. You don't want to liquefy it, but you could liquefy. JP talked about blended salads next week, but I'm not sure exactly what he means, so I'll ask him next week exactly how to make them and what the ratio is. But just eat your salad like you've been doing every week in the program.
So we're getting lots of questions now, and
don't forget to share this broadcast now.
Yes, so
Please
share.
Help me out.
So someone is saying, what do you put in your salad? I know we talk about some of these things,
Yeah.
but just to give people a long list of other things they can add to the
please,
salad.
but that's why I made the video. Please watch the video. The idea is a variety of colors and textures. So there's always a sweet, and by sweet I mean some kind of a fruit. There's always a salty, and by salty it would be something like celery or maybe a piece of nori or dulse or kelp. There's always the salad part, which would be the greens, which, you know, the romaine or whatever lettuce I'm using. Sweet. There's always a savory component where I would put something in like like an onion or something from that family. There's a sweet. There's always a starch component, so I'm always putting in something like cubes of butternut squash or leftover cut up sweet potatoes or rice or quinoa or millet. There's always a specialty, at least for mine, there's a specialty component where I might put some leftover balsamic Dijon glazed Brussels sprouts. That's 6. There's 8 secrets to. There's always a snap component. Make sure something very crunchy is in there, like jicama.
I'm a big component in jicama.
There's spice. There's always some kind of herb or spice. So maybe there's mint in there or something. But my salads are amazing. We recommend that you eat a huge ass salad every day, at least the size of your head, at least once a day.
It's called a Hass versus a
Hass.
Bass.
We call them a Hass or a Bass, big ass salad.
So the other thing is, someone's just saying, Jennifer Dynson saying, chop with a ceramic knife to make veggies last longer without
Great.
browning.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Is that the...
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you. I do buy a lot of stuff pre-cut. It's more expensive, but it's triple wash and I save time. You know, Dr. Goldhammer says the way you know your salad is big enough is if somebody thinks it's enough to feed a family of 8, then you know your salad's big enough. If not, you're not eating enough salad. And again, you know, the only reason I'm successful is because I've got a tape in my head of Dr. Alan Goldhammer playing 24 hours a day, and I never forget what he said. Show me a fat person, I'll show you someone unwilling to eat enough raw salad and steamed vegetables. And the minute that hit home with me and I started doing that, it's like, it's impossible to put on weight now. You can't be overweight eating vegetables. They're 67 to 125 calories per pound. You need at least 10 calories per pound of body weight just for your BMR, your basal metabolic rate, your resting metabolic rate, to breathe your heart and beat your heart and breathe your lungs. And how many of you, I would need, without exercise, 1,200 calories a day. Even I can't eat 12 pounds of vegetables a day. So if you're not at the weight you want to be and you're still having cravings, you are not eating enough vegetables, my friend. All right? Keep going?
Keep going.
All right. Aaron actually, there's 2 questions on snacking, Aaron and Robin, so I'll read both of them.
Snacking. We're back to that question.
So Aaron says, can you talk about snacking? Do you feel it's better to only eat during a meal and leave snacking out, or is it okay to snack throughout the day if the snack is veggies or fruit? And Robin says, as the night progresses, I get hungry for a snack. Is it okay to cook edamame? If not, what is a filling snack to eat? So, in my opinion, for somebody that's overweight and wanting to lose weight, and somebody that's suffering from food addiction, don't snack. Now, that said, people are eating for reasons outside of hunger. Can you believe that? You know, it's interesting, guys, because I can't work on this broadcast on the emotional component with you. I'm going to be interviewing Dr. Doug Lyall on Tuesday, November 7th about food addiction, emotional eating, and stress eating, which he doesn't believe exists. But I do believe that people eat for reasons other than hunger. But the interesting thing is no one could be overweight or obese if they ate outside of the demands of true hunger. And by that I mean, look, a lot of people eat crap and a lot of people eat animal products in the standard American diet, but not all of them are overweight. But the ones that I know that are normal weight are not eating 10 pounds of food a day like me. They are not eating huge volumes of crap. They're not eating outside of hunger. But people eat for a variety of reasons, like they're angry or anxious or bored or depressed or lonely or stressed or tired. And I find that when you have the need to snack, it's usually not because you're hungry, unless you didn't eat enough food. And if you really are hungry, then eat. But people have an idea for a snack is something snacky, like crunchy, like a chip, or sweet, like a cookie. And so that's not hunger, that's appetite. The way I can tell is if you're really hungry or if you are eating for other reasons than hunger is by what you choose. Because if it's 10 o'clock at night and you're willing to eat a bowl of plain steamed kale, you're probably hungry. But if it's got to be fatty, salty kale chips, it's not. It's probably appetite, because any food with actual nutrient value will satisfy true hunger. But cravings can only be satisfied by specific food, and it's usually these snack foods that we really want to, we want to crunch. And the other thing is most snack foods tend to be hand-to-mouth foods, which I don't recommend for food addicts, because it can trigger the part of the brain that remembers binging, because when people binge, it's generally not using chopsticks or a knife or a fork mindfully, it's shoveling food in. So I don't recommend that unless you're at a Moroccan restaurant and don't want to offend your host, that you eat with your hands. And God forbid you have to eat popcorn, which you shouldn't if you're trying to lose weight or recover from food addiction. It's 1,800 calories a pound, no water. People think it's a great snack for weight loss. There is no great snack for weight loss. For weight loss, don't snack. Eat your meals. It doesn't have to be 3. It could be 1. It could be 2. It could be 6. But eat food, not snacks. Now, I would say...
Food cans is like a jicama.
Yeah.
Jicama, is that okay to eat as a snack when you just feel like you're sticking something in?
But why are you guys snacking? Are you hungry? I mean, I would like you guys to do what we've talked about in the program and not only keep a food journal, but keep a food mood journal and write down what time it is, how you feel emotionally before you ate, because what is making you want to snack? Now, if you didn't eat enough food and you're hungry, then eat another meal, but don't eat a snack. You shouldn't need a snack unless you didn't eat enough or you didn't eat enough starch. You see, that's a big problem, because we talked about that last week, episode 48, the one point that JP and I disagree on, the fruit and vegetables days, which I don't recommend for anybody in ultimate weight loss. Some of the gals in Mastery want to do it. That's fine. I don't recommend it, because especially people with a history of food restriction and discordant eating, you do a fruit and vegetable day, you're taking out the most important component of food where appetite, alleviating your appetite and satiety is concerned, which is the starch. And so if you feel like you need a snack, then go back and eat more food. If you're not hungry enough to eat vegetables, you're not hungry. Everybody is always hungry enough to eat oatmeal and fruit. I promise you. Or everybody's always hungry enough to eat fruit, even if you're full. But if you are not hungry enough to eat vegetables, you're not hungry. And so in the case of Robin, well, first of all, edamame, I don't want to say no, it's not okay. It's technically to the left of the red line because it is a legume, and legumes are about 550 to 600 calories per pound. But soy is over 50% fat, and I don't recommend it for weight loss. And if you're somebody that wants to lose weight, I don't recommend soy for that. I recommend every other of the 18,000 different kinds of legumes, but not edamame. And when you say as the night progresses and you get hungry, well, as the night progresses, you're supposed to be getting sleepy and going to bed. Because we've talked about this on myriad episodes, do not eat after dinner. Whether it's 5, 6, or 7, brush your teeth, wash the dishes, and you don't eat till the next day. And then people say, oh, but I'm starving and I can't sleep. You know what? Like Dr. Goldhammer says, suck it up, Buttercup. Thin people fast for 40 days at True North. You can go to bed one night without eating before bed. And when you do that, you know what's going to happen? You'll actually wake up maybe hungry for the first time in your life. And when you've had a good night's sleep, you won't need all the stimulation from this nighttime eating, from overeating, from stimulants like coffee and caffeine and sugar and things like that. So what is a filling snack to eat? Let's get the word snack out. What is a filling food to eat? A potato is a filling food to eat. Non-starchy vegetables are a filling food to eat. So my feeling is, especially those of you that are in the Mastery program, why are we snacking? You know, anytime you put food in your mouth, Dr. Furman talked about this at the Vegas conference about how life is extended the longer we live in the catabolic phase, I believe it was, versus the anabolic phase, that the longer we go without eating, which is why a lot of people do intermittent fasting, not necessarily for weight loss, but for longevity, which we have a couple of questions about. But my feeling is since most people are unwilling to work on the emotional component and the stress in their life, if you have to snack, then snack on vegetables, non-starchy vegetables. And that's fine. But the thing is that's not what you want, is it, guys? You want something high fat like edamame. You want something salty. You want something sweet. You know, if you want to knock yourself out on cherry tomatoes and celery all day, you can. So my feeling is it's better not to snack. You don't have to have, certain meals. You don't have to have a specific number of meals. It depends on your activity level, too. I mean, I don't eat the same amount every day. On days that I sit at the computer till 4 o'clock, I don't even realize I haven't eaten. On days that I do my 90-minute spin class, I'm starving when I get off the bike. But don't snack. Eat food. Eat enough food at your meals so that you don't need to snack, okay? You liking that, guys?
Yep.
Share it if you do. And comment if you disagree with me, please.
Dr. Mondo's on. You know Dr.
Hi,
Mondo?
I don't know him, but I've heard of him. Hi.
Yeah, Sharon's
Hello
saying
there. Well, how nice.
He's
Nice
been
to-
talking about this on his
Well,
podcast
nice to meet
too.
you. Maybe he'll interview me on his podcast. I don't know him, but very nice to meet you. All right. So, Cara has a question, and Melanie have similar questions. They both involve coconut. So, Cara says, if not focused on weight loss, is coconut milk okay? I find curries super flavorful, but they thicken well with coconut milk, which has a good flavor. And Melanie says, where does coconut water and coconut meat fall, to the left or the right of the red line? So, coconut is a very, very high-fat plant food, and it's the only plant food that is high in saturated fat. It's 92% saturated fat, which is actually higher in saturated fat than even lard. So not only do I not recommend coconut for weight loss, I don't recommend it for health. If you want more references from the health standpoint, you can go to Dr. McDougall's website and just put in the search box coconut. You can go to Dr. Greger's website, nutritionfacts.org, put in coconut. You can go to Jeff Novick's website. It's a very high-fat food, and if you've watched the movie Forks Over Knives or read Dr. Esselstyn's book, Prevent and Reverse Heart Disease, not only is the fat you eat the fat you wear from a visual standpoint, but the high-fat foods, they can injure the lining of your endothelial, which is the life jacket of your circulatory system. And the thing is for people that are overweight and suffer from food addiction, the more fat you eat, the more fat you crave, because fat is very, very addictive in that you produce more dopamine when you eat foods of a higher caloric density. And what is of a more high caloric density than fat? Even the whole fat plant foods that are about 3,200 calories a pound, a little bit better than oil at 4,000 calories a pound. But the more fat you eat, the more fat you want. And unlike salt, which could take about 30 days for you to neuroadapt from if you stop eating it, it could take 90 to 120 days for you to be satisfied with a low-fat diet. But the thing is, the low-fat diet never doesn't work, both in terms of weight loss, and it's been proven to be probably the best in terms of weight maintenance, because it's the only dietary style that actually allows you to eat large volumes of food and be full and satisfied. So I don't recommend coconut at all. I mean, if you had a little sprinkling on top of some fruit salad, maybe, but if you're trying to lose weight and gain health, I don't recommend any of the high-fat plant foods, with the exception of maybe some flax and chia seeds, a tablespoon a day sprinkled on your salad, or if you're still eating oats on your oatmeal. And if you're somebody that doesn't struggle with these foods being trigger foods, maybe an ounce of walnuts a day. We don't need a lot of fat. There's fat, a lot of added fat. There's fat in everything. Oatmeal is almost 20% fat, which is why I think that's why all the food addicts gravitate towards it, because of all the grains, it's probably the highest in fat. But as far as flavor and from a culinary standpoint, as far as thickening, you don't need coconut milk to thicken. You could use a cooked Yukon Gold potato. You can use cooked white beans to thicken. And for the flavor, you could do what Mary McDougall does, where she takes almond milk, which has about 3 grams of fat, and puts in, I believe, an 1/8 or 1/4 teaspoon of coconut extract. But you're not going to get that, what you're looking for. You're not going to be able to medicate with the food made that way. I looked it up. In a 1/2 cup of coconut milk, which is like a can, I believe, is like 2 cups, it was something like 24 grams of fat. It was ridiculous, the amount of fat. And the same thing, even we could argue that the coconut meat from the Thai young coconut is probably a little bit better. It's just ridiculously high in fat and calories. And if you're trying to lose weight, just refer to Dr. McDougall. For 40 years, he's been saying the fat you eat is the fat you wear. And those of you know, I have not eaten any added fat for over 6 years. I am not sick in any way. I've had my omegas tested, all my DHA, EPA, ELA, the ratio 6 and 3, and not only my normal, I'm high, but I eat a lot of vegetables. So the more you eat fat, the more you crave fat, the more you want it. And most of the time, you want it with salt. One of the studies that Dr. Oliveira is going to be talking about in an upcoming podcast is when you eat salt, you end up eating 11% more calories from fat, so they work synergistically, the fat and the salt, the sugar and the fat. So don't recommend it for health or weight loss, guys. Sorry about that. Anything else before I move on to a few more questions?
Someone is saying, do you recommend putting jicama in the air fryer?
I haven't done it, so I don't know, but I hear that okra is really good. Lenore says, how many calories should we be taking in per day or per meal? I don't know, because this is the Ultimate Weight Loss Program is not based on calories, carbs, points, counting, weighing, or measuring. So you eat until comfortably full. If you eat to the left of the red line until comfortably full, and if you are trying to lose weight and you lose between 1 and 2 pounds a week, you're doing great. I don't count calories. I make calorie count. by eating foods of the highest nutrient density and the lowest caloric density. All you have to know is the average calorie density of a few food groups, which is why we give you that magnet. And if you live out of the country, we give you a PDF of it. And all you have to remember is fruits, vegetables are about 100 calories a pound, fruit about 300 calories a pound, potatoes about 400, whole grains about 500, beans about 600. And if you eat those 4 food groups, fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and legumes, which are all to the left of the red line, you can eat as much as you want, as often as you want, whenever you want, until comfortably full, and you will lose weight until very close to your ideal weight without having to count, weigh, or measure. So how many calories you need will depend on your age, your weight, your sex, your activity level, your metabolism. So I have no idea because I don't know what you weigh and I don't know all your other parameters. In general, we need 10 calories per pound of body weight just for our resting metabolic rate. But I don't know because this is not a calorie counting program. Anything before I go on to a few more great questions?
We've got a wrap. It's coming on.
Oh gosh, I really want to. Okay. Well, I could do these next week. There's a few more questions. I really wanted to get to. I really want to get to Nikki's question though, if that's okay.
Let's get Nikki's on, then we'll wrap.
Yeah. Shauna and Lisa, I'll get to yours next week. Okay. So Nikki had 2. I want to get to the one where she said, I need advice on what to do when my plan fails. I'm good when I have pre-planned my meals, but I need tips on what to do when my plans change and end up doing something spontaneous and don't have enough food to get me through. So, there's an old saying that poor planning on your part doesn't constitute an emergency on my part. And I can't tell you that if you eat differently than the rest of the world, you have to have your food with you all the time. Those of us that have been in this program for a long time, I don't go anywhere. I don't go to the gym because my car could break down. I don't go anywhere without my cooler. And my cooler looks like a very fashionable women's purse. Sharon McRae gave it to me. It's beautiful. And Tina Marie gave me another one. They look like fashionable women's purses, but they're coolers. I don't go anywhere. And I certainly don't travel without 24 hours worth of food. The world is not set up to support people that eat healthy. So if you have a different diet because of allergies or because of religion, like you're kosher, or you're just not going to be able to find your food. It's very, very difficult. I did a free webinar on how to eat healthfully anywhere, showing you how to get the best choices. But the problem is the best choices are often a banana, And so the thing is, spontaneity is great as long as it's carefully planned. And what I mean by that is you can be spontaneous in your activities with your friends, but you really can't be spontaneous with your food or drink if you're an addict. It doesn't work, So I wish I had a better answer for you. Or the other answer is just don't eat. I get these texts like, oh my God, I forgot to bring my vegetables and so I was starving. It was 7 a.m. I was starving, so I had to have a Cinnabon. You're not starving, guys. I mean, maybe we could argue if somebody's an insulin-dependent diabetic and has wild blood sugar fluctuations. That's a different story. But you guys can skip a meal. You guys can stop eating it after dinner and make it to breakfast. I promise you. At True North, they go 40 days, thin people that aren't food addicts. You can skip a meal. You can always choose to not eat. But you have to have your food with you. So fail to plan to fail. There can't be spontaneity if you're on this kind of eating program. So please share this broadcast.
Is this your purse?
Well, this isn't my cooler purse. This is my Whole Foods bag, which interestingly enough happens to have millet in it of all things. Yes. So here's the thing. Next week, I don't know how many questions you'll get to because it's really all about the giveaway for the 50th anniversary or the 50th episode celebration. All these great prizes. Make sure that you tell everybody to watch. We've got amazing prizes like a free Instant Pot and a session with Dr. Doug Lyall. You've got to be watching live, and all the trivia questions are going to be based on my book, Unprocessed. It's amazing to me how many people are in ultimate weight loss and have not even read the story of my life. So please get the book because all the questions will come from this book, and I hope to see you back in here at 167 hours for the 50th giveaway. Thank you guys so much for generously donating. Sign up to be on my mailing list at eatunprocessed.com so you can get notified of fun giveaways like this. And thank you so much for watching another episode of Weight Loss Wednesday. I'm Chef AJ, and I truly believe you can have both the health and the body you so richly deserve. And I'd be honored to help you get it. Bye, everybody.
Now let's share this. That's a wrap.